The meaning of existence is simply to exist. It's remarkably plain, astonishingly obvious, beautifully simple. Yet everyone rushes about in tremendous panic as if they must achieve something beyond their own being. Have you noticed something curious? Suffering resides not so much in pain itself, but in how we clutch it, resist it, and desperately try escaping it. The moment you resist anything, you magnify it. The moment you push against a thought, you strengthen it. Much of what we label suffering isn't the rain falling upon us, it's our cursing of the storm. I'm not suggesting life is free from difficulty. Far from it. Life has always been a dance of opposites, pain and pleasure, gain and loss, birth and death. They're as inseparable as a coin's two faces. But here's the crucial insight. Suffering is not the same as pain. Pain is simply what is the sting of loss, the body's ache, the tears of parting. These are natural as tides. But suffering? Suffering is the story we weave around it. It's the why me. It's the clinging, the holding on, the desperate attempt to control what was never in our control. There's an old Zen saying, let go or be dragged. This is precisely what we're examining today. When you stop clutching, when you allow the river to flow, you discover the water carries you. But when you stiffen, when you insist on paddling against the current, you exhaust yourself. And then, naturally, you call that exhaustion suffering. Today we're exploring why we suffer, how we create it, and what happens when we finally see through the illusion. This might be the most liberating conversation you'll encounter. This channel exists for those seeking philosophical depth and psychological insight into consciousness, suffering, and authentic existence. If these explorations resonate with you, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and sharing your reflections in the comments. What we're examining today could fundamentally transform how you relate to pain, loss, and the fundamental nature of your own being. Imagine this for a moment. You're sitting in a concert hall listening to the most marvelous symphony. The violins rise, the horns call, the drums thunder, and then there are those soft silences between notes. If you tried clinging to one particular note, one particular moment, you would miss the music entirely. Yet that's precisely what so many of us do with life. We clutch at the past. We resist the present. We demand the future turn out exactly according to our specifications. And in this struggle, we suffer. There's a beautiful Taoist saying, muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. Isn't that delightful? You stir up the pond and then panic, wondering why you cannot see clearly. But if you would only stop meddling, if you would let the water settle naturally, it becomes clear again. This is the essence of ending suffering. To stop trying to force clarity, to stop grasping for control, to let life be. And yet here comes the paradox. The very moment you try to let go, you find yourself grasping at letting go. You say, I must stop suffering, I must drop it, I must let it go. And suddenly suffering is right back in the room, laughing at you. So what do? You don't do, you notice, you watch, you become aware of this game you're playing. And in that very awareness, a kind of miracle happens. The grasping begins to loosen on its own. This is why I often say, we suffer only because we take seriously what existence made for play. Life is a game, a cosmic hide and seek. You are it, pretending not to be it. You are the universe playing at being a person. And the moment you recognize that this entire drama isn't meant to be taken with such deadly seriousness, you begin to laugh at your suffering. And what happens when you laugh? You loosen, you breathe, you live. Think of a child. A child falls, scrapes their knee, and within moments they're up again, laughing, running. The pain is there, certainly, but it hasn't yet solidified into suffering. Why? Because the child hasn't learned to weave long stories about it. They haven't yet learned to cling. But we as adults become extraordinarily skilled storytellers. We carry our wounds like treasures, retelling them, protecting them, building entire identities around them. And in this endless narration, we suffer far more than the original wound ever required. Let me tell you a story, one you may have heard before, but it bears repeating. There was once a farmer in ancient China. One day his horse ran away, and the neighbors came and said, "Oh, that's terrible." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The next day the horse returned, bringing with it 7 wild horses. The neighbors came again and said, "Why, how wonderful." The farmer said, "Maybe." The day after, his son tried to ride one of the wild horses and was thrown off, breaking his leg. The neighbors rushed in. "Oh, that's terrible." Again the farmer said, "Maybe." The very next day, conscription officers came looking for young men to draft into the army. But because the son had a broken leg, they passed him by. The neighbors cried, "How fortunate!" And the farmer has always replied, "Maybe." Now, the point of this story isn't about being clever or emotionally detached. It's about seeing that life is endlessly unfolding, and our judgments of good and bad, fortunate and unfortunate, are terribly short-sighted. When you see this, you begin loosening your grip on things. You stop suffering over each twist of the plot because you realize you're not meant to judge the story. You're meant to experience it. We're a little bit afraid. We wonder what will happen next. But that's precisely the adventure. The attempt to escape suffering is often its very root. You fear the unknown, you fear loss, you fear death, but all of these are part of the adventure. The trick, you see, is not to eliminate the storm, but to learn dancing in the rain. Not to abolish silence, but to hear the music within it. Not to conquer death, but to realize that death is what makes life so exquisitely alive. So if you wish to stop suffering, don't begin with attempting to rearrange life. Begin with the way you see it. Look at the river, look at the sky. Look at your own thoughts rising and falling like clouds, and see they were never under your control anyway. When you allow them to flow, you discover something strange. Suffering evaporates, and in its place there emerges a kind of deep, wordless peace. It's not the peace of having solved everything, but the peace of no longer needing to. There's another important principle. The more a thing tends toward permanence, the more it tends toward lifelessness. Suffering comes from our desperate attempt to make the impermanent permanent. We want the joy without the loss, the life without the death, the gain without the risk. But this is wanting a one-sided coin, and a one-sided coin does not exist. When you see this, when you truly see it, you stop fighting the rhythm of life. And in that moment, suffering dissolves. So perhaps the invitation is not to escape suffering, but to see through it, to recognize it as a trick of the mind, a tightening where loosening is possible. And in this recognition, right here, right now, you are free. If you're engaging deeply with these ideas about suffering, attachment, and the nature of the self, I've created an ebook called Beyond the Shadow that explores Carl Jung's core psychological concepts. It examines the unconscious mind, shadow integration, and the individuation process, all of which relate directly to how we create and maintain suffering. If you're serious about this inner work, you'll find the link in the description. We have this feeling of being a lonely little me inside a bag of skin, looking out at a world that is foreign and often threatening. We feel that we came into this world, but did you? Or did you come out of it, like an apple comes out of an apple tree? Have you noticed this peculiar illusion we carry? The sense that we are strangers in the universe, accidental visitors, isolated egos inside these fragile shells of flesh. We imagine ourselves tossed into a world that doesn't belong to us, that is indifferent or hostile. And because of this illusion, we feel lonely, we feel afraid. We feel the weight of being a separate self, adrift in a vast, uncaring cosmos. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, did you really come into this world, or did you come out of it? Just as a leaf comes out of a branch, just as the wave rises out of the sea, the universe has been unfolding for billions of years, and here you are, a blossoming, an expression, a ripple in its eternal dance. You are not a visitor, you are the happening itself. Consider the wave. A wave curls upon the ocean surface. It rises, takes form, gathers strength, and if it could think, it might say, "Look at me, I am a wave. I am important, separate, special." But the wave also fears. It sees its own end approaching as it tumbles toward the shore. It trembles at the crash, thinking it will vanish forever, and so it suffers. But what the wave forgets, what we forget, is that it is never separate from the ocean. Its water is the ocean's water. Its motion is the ocean's motion. The crash upon the shore is not the end of the wave, but a transformation. It returns to the sea, just as it always was the sea. You are that wave. You may call yourself by a name, John or Jane, but your true identity is oceanic. You are the universe itself, playing at being a temporary ripple. And when you see this, fear dissolves. Loneliness fades, because you realize you cannot fall out of the ocean. You cannot be lost. You are the ocean, forever folding into new forms. Now let's deepen this. The universe is not merely ocean, but a great play of opposites. Light and dark, sound and silence, life and death. We live in a system of polarity. The crest of the wave cannot exist without the trough. The heartbeat itself, systole and diastole, contraction and expansion. If the heart stopped alternating, you would not be alive. Yet what do? We try to cling to one side and reject the other. We worship the light but curse the darkness. We chase pleasure but resist pain. We want to live but we fear death. And here's the crucial point. You cannot have one without the other. It's like trying to play chess with only white pieces, or trying to listen to music with only sound and no silence. The opposites define one another. Without the background of night, the stars would not shine. Without silence, music would be meaningless. Without death, life would lose its urgency, its beauty. But suffering arises when we forget this is a game. When we treat one side as an enemy to be conquered rather than a partner in the dance. The yin-yang symbol, you see, is not static. It's always turning, always flowing. The black contains the seed of white, and the white contains the seed of black. They chase one another like lovers, like dancers. The universe is not at war with itself. It is in love with itself. It is playing. It is dancing. And you are one of its graceful movements. Now let's take another metaphor. Imagine life as a grand theater. The curtain rises, the actors step onto the stage, and the play begins. To be a good actor, you must believe in your role. If you're playing the tragic hero, you must weep real tears. If you're playing the clown, you must laugh with all your heart. But the great actor never forgets this is a role. The tears are real, yet they are also play. When the curtain falls, the actor steps off stage, removes the costume, and goes home. Now here is the human predicament. We have forgotten we are actors. We're stuck on the stage, utterly convinced the play is reality itself. We take our role as John or Mary with such seriousness, such gravity, that we suffer as if the play were eternal. But what happens when you remember, when you see that the role is temporary, that the curtain will fall? You don't stop acting. In fact, you act even better, because you can give yourself fully to the role, knowing it is not the whole of you. You are not just the actor. You are the audience watching the play unfold. You are the playwright weaving the story. You are the stage itself upon which the drama appears. And when you realize this, the tragedy loses its sting. The comedy sparkles, and even the sorrows of life become part of the magnificent performance. But perhaps the deepest illusion of all is the sense of separation, this feeling of being a lonely little me, trapped in a bag of skin, peering out at a world that is other. Science will tell you, quite correctly, that your body is made of stardust, that the iron in your blood was forged in the hearts of stars that exploded billions of years ago, that the breath you inhale right now was exhaled by trees, and the breath you exhale is food for them. You are not separate from the environment. You are the environment. You don't live in the universe. You are the universe living as this particular form for a little while. The illusion of being separate is the root of fear, and thus the root of suffering. Because if you believe you are only this fragile ego, you must constantly defend it, protect it, cling to it. And of course it feels terrifying to lose it. But when you see through the illusion, when you realize you are the ocean, the wave, the actor, the stage, the whole cosmic drama, then death itself loses its teeth. Because how can the universe lose itself? It is only changing costume, only shifting masks, only moving from one dance to another. Let me share with you one final image. The Hindu tradition says the universe is a game of hide and seek. God or Brahman hides from himself by becoming us, by becoming the world of forms, by pretending to be you and forgetting. Why? Because there's no fun in playing a game where you already know the ending. So the self hides from itself, takes on the disguise of you, and pretends to be lost. And the whole adventure of life is the thrill of seeking. But sooner or later the game reaches its turning point. The mask slips, the curtain is lifted, and you remember, it was me all along. I was the seeker and the sought, the hider and the finder, the player and the game. And then you laugh, because you realize suffering was never more than forgetting the playful nature of it all. You are the aperture through which the universe is looking at itself and exploring itself. And when you know this not as an idea, but as a lived reality, life transforms. The fear of death loosens. The grip of loneliness fades. The seriousness of suffering dissolves, because you remember you are not merely in the cosmos, you are the cosmos. And this whole drama, with its joys and sorrows, is your play. For those wanting to explore how to work practically with these insights about the self, illusion, and awakening in daily life, I've also created Dialogues with the Unconscious, a 30-day practical guide for applying Jungian psychology through exercises in shadow work, active imagination, and integrating unconscious material. It's not theory, it's application. The link is in the description if this work resonates with you. So how does one stop suffering? The ego's first instinct is to find a method, a technique, a new thing to do, to try even harder to control the game. But that is like a person trapped in quicksand. Struggling, it only sinks them deeper. The way is not to grasp, but to let go. We human beings are funny creatures. When faced with the challenge of suffering, our first thought is always, what should I do? We want a prescription, a technique, a map. We want some clever method that will finally fix it all. But do you see the trick here? The very one who is suffering, the grasping, anxious self, is the one trying to end suffering. It's like a dog chasing its own tail, or like someone in quicksand who thrashes and flails, only to sink deeper with every effort. The harder you try to be free, the more tightly you bind yourself, because the very act of trying is rooted in resistance, and resistance is the seed of suffering. This is why control never quite works. You say to yourself, I must let go, I must relax, I must trust. And already you are clutching at relaxation, grasping at trust, forcing yourself to let go. It's absurd, isn't it? And yet this is the human predicament. We try to control the uncontrollable. We try to clutch the river with our hands. Then we wonder why we come up empty. Letting go is not something you do. It is what happens when you see that there is nothing to hold on to. It's like opening your hand and realizing it was empty all along. Remember our farmer and his maybe. That soft smile of uncertainty. It reveals something profound. We are constantly labeling events as good or bad, fortunate or unfortunate, based on a tiny sliver of perspective. But the truth is we do not know. We cannot know. The story is still unfolding. Our endless judgments, our compulsive labeling, they are the very roots of anxiety. We live in constant tension, afraid of what may come, desperate to hold on to what we call good, terrified of what we call bad. But if we could live like the farmer, with that soft smile of maybe, suffering would dissolve like morning mist. So then, what is the alternative? If not control, if not judgment, what is left? Attention. Pure, unfiltered, childlike attention. Instead of trying to change what is, try simply to look at it. Feel the anxiety in your chest. Don't call it bad. Don't try to fix it. Just feel it as it is. Listen to the sound of rain on the roof. Don't call it pleasant. Don't call it unpleasant. Just listen. Look at the light filtering through the trees. Don't say how beautiful. Don't say how ordinary. Just look. And when you do this, something miraculous happens. The world, which had grown flat and gray, suddenly becomes alive again. Everything shimmers with mystery, as if seen for the first time. You become like a child. And for a child, everything is gee whiz. The most ordinary pebble is a jewel. The most common insect is a dragon. The whole world is vibrant, alive, radiant. Now I must warn you, to live this way feels like living without a net, because the ego desperately wants guarantees. It wants security, certainty, a safety rope to cling to. But life offers no such thing. And that, my friends, is its beauty. The tree does not ask for a guarantee of spring, it simply blossoms. The bird does not demand a contract with the sky, it simply spreads its wings and flies. Living without a net is to realize you don't actually have to let go, because there is nothing to hold on to. There never was. You see, all along you have been like someone clutching at empty air, imagining it was a rope. And when you finally look, you laugh, because there is nothing to release. You are already free. This is the wisdom of unknowing. We are so desperate to know, to pin down, to fix, to explain. But what if we could rest in the vastness of not knowing? What if we could meet each moment without the burden of labels, without the need for certainty? Then life would not be a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. The river flows, and you flow with it. The wind blows, and you bend with it. The stars burn, and you burn with them. There is no plan to follow, no secret key to find. There is only this moment, this breath, this dance. And when you see this, you discover a peace deeper than answers, the peace of not needing to know, the peace of simply being. And here comes the final joke of it all. The very thing you have been searching for, freedom, peace, the end of suffering, was never hiding. It was here all along. It's like looking for your own head. You can twist and turn, peer into every mirror, ask every teacher, but you will never see it directly because it is what you are looking from. In the same way, you are the very freedom you seek. You are the very peace you long for. You are it, always, already here. And the moment you stop searching, the moment you stop clutching, you see it like a joke that was waiting all along. And then perhaps you laugh. The real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real, deep down you is the whole universe. And when you realize this, that there is no rope to grasp, no net to fall into, no separate self to protect you, stop struggling. You stop suffering, and you live. Not tomorrow, not when you've figured it all out, but now, always now. So here we are, my friends, at the final turn of this little journey together. We began with a knot, the knot of suffering, the sense that you are a lonely little creature cast adrift in a vast and hostile universe. And perhaps along the way you've noticed that knot beginning to loosen, not by force, not by pulling at it, but simply by seeing it for what it is, an illusion. You see, all along, the suffering was not in life itself, but in the way we held on to it, the way we tried to freeze the dance into a still photograph, the way we insisted on being the permanent guest at an impermanent party. And life, of course, refuses. Life moves, it dances, it breathes. And so our suffering was the friction between our demand for solidity and the universe's endless fluidity. We began with separation, a skin-encapsulated ego, looking out through the eyes as if through tiny windows, fearing the world outside. We discovered that this little self, this lonely I, is no more than a mask, a role in a play. And behind the mask is not another mask, but the infinite. The ocean pretending to be a wave, the universe pretending to be you. We explored how suffering arises from clinging, from our desperate attempt to hold on to what cannot be held, to make permanent what is inherently flowing. And we discovered that the way out is not a way at all. It is simply seeing. Seeing that you are not the wave but the ocean. Seeing that you are not the actor but the entire play. Seeing that there is no rope to grasp because there was never anything to hold on to. When this seeing happens, not as intellectual understanding, but as lived reality, suffering dissolves like mist in morning sun. What remains is not emptiness but fullness, not absence but presence, not death but life, vibrant and immediate. The meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. Yet everybody rushes around in great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. But you, right now, in this moment, you are already it. You are already the freedom you seek. You are already the peace you long for. The adventure is not becoming something you're not. The adventure is recognizing what you've always been. So perhaps now you can laugh. Laugh at the cosmic joke. Laugh at the hide-and-seek game you've been playing with yourself. Laugh at how seriously you took the drama, how desperately you clutched at shadows. And in that laughter, you are free. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, but now, always now. Thank you for walking this path with me today. If these explorations have resonated with you, subscribe to this channel for more philosophical and psychological depth. Share this with someone who might need to hear it. Leave your reflections in the comments. I genuinely want to know how these ideas land with you. For those ready to go deeper, check out Beyond the Shadow for understanding Jung's core psychological framework, and Dialogues with the Unconscious for practical 30-day exercises in Jungian psychology. Links are in the description. Remember, you are not trying to become free. You are recognizing that you already are. Until next time, keep laughing, keep dancing, keep being.